What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. And I wanted to make this video for a while. So the Ram and the Ford are both in the shop right now. And I wanted to do a comparison, talk about what year each truck is, what the differences is, what models, what trim packages, what my take is. Because I drove the Ford for beginning 2018 up to almost all of 2020. So I got, almost 3 years in that truck. Yeah, and then the Ram, I had it for a few months. And what do I think? What do I like? So let's get started. All right, let's start off with the Ford, the good old Ford. It's a 2012 Ford F450 cab chassis. That's a huge deal. I think if it was not a cab chassis, the regular bed, I probably would have still had it and not the Ram. We'll get into that in a bit, but otherwise, man, the reliability of this truck was great. And nothing really broke. The transmission, solid. I got this truck with like 68,000 miles, and I think right now, let's see what it has. I think it has like 240. 231 actually. So I mean, that's not a lot of miles still, but considering the truck, all its life, all it did was haul, heavy, 30,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds all the time, almost every single day, day in, day out. No issues with the transmission, no issues with anything except for, the common issues with like the 2012, their turbo bearings are ceramic. I think that's the turbo went out. That was one of the issues. And then the radiator also, the support, I think it's plastic or something, that cracked and that started leaking. So both of those things got replaced. And then I don't really remember much things, just maintenance. I replaced the shocks on it because, they go out, especially doing the kind of work it did. And when I got the truck, it was just cab chassis, so I ended up putting this bed on it. It's a CM, can't remember what model it is, like RT or something, and the ball on it is a 2 5/16, and it's rated at 26,000 pounds. So that was a huge downside, which I didn't really know at first when I was buying the bed. And I just towed, and then I looked at that sticker, I'm like 26,000, like, oh, that's not gonna work, because I wanted at least 30. Yeah, I mean, it worked fine. All right, well, let's talk about the suspension on these trucks. Starting out with the 450, I mean, check out this leaf pack. This thing is super solid, because this truck is rated at 16,500 pounds, versus the Ram, it's rated at 14,000, and the leaf pack on this truck is a lot smaller. I mean, look at that, there's just a little bit less. But this truck has airbags, Airlift 7500s, and this truck does not have airbags. It just has, the beefy suspension. If you put the trailer on here, this thing only sags like a half an inch or something, and this thing drops like 1.5 inches, and you could definitely see the difference. This truck had a trailer on it. You take it off, it just goes up a little bit. Put a trailer on this Ram, you could definitely see it, but that's just the way it's designed, because naturally this truck sits higher in the back, and with the trailer it sits level, especially with the heavy trailer that I got. This truck, it sits pretty level right now, and with the trailer connected it still sits level. I mean, because of the big leaf pack. But the reason why I went from a 450 cab chassis with a bigger rating to a 3500 with a smaller rating, from a 16.5 to a 14,000, is because of the ride quality. And that's super important to me, because day in, day out, you need to enjoy what you do. And with the airbags on there, it works perfect. All right, well, the next difference would be the wheels. So the 450 has steel wheels, or steelies, and the tires, I think, are 14 ply. Versus the Ram, I think it has 12 plies. I might be wrong. And the wheels are aluminum all around, except for the inside of the duals. I think those are steels, but I think the steels might take more weight. But honestly, I don't think it's that big of a difference. But the look difference is huge. Going from steelies to a chrome wheel. I mean, you gotta enjoy your tool, because this is a tool for me, because that's what I use at work. And you want to enjoy your tools, you want to make sure they're clean, they look shiny, and I mean, that's just my preference. You know how that saying goes, if you park your truck and you start walking away, you don't turn back, you got the wrong truck, you don't like it. But I like it. It's something that you got to enjoy day in, day out. So now let's move on to the engine bay. So the Ford, how do I pop the hood? There you go. Yeah, I even forgot to pop the hood. So obviously it opens the same way. All right, so this is a 6.7 liter Power Stroke, and because, I mean, you could obviously see that this thing has some miles on it, but because it's a cab chassis, those trucks come detuned. I think in the regular truck in 2012 had like 380 or 400 horsepower and 800 pounds of torque, and this truck, because it's a cab chassis, it has 300 horsepower, so that's 100 less versus the regular truck, and 660 pounds of torque versus 800. And you could definitely feel when you're towing on this thing, because it's detuned, because it's a 4500, and the 5500s or the 450s and 550s are detuned because they're, I guess, more commercial than these trucks. And this truck, let's go open the hood. All right. Oh, the hood on the Ram is a lot lighter than the Ford. Way lighter. So this is also a 6.7, but this is a Cummins turbo diesel, and this truck has 410 horsepower, so that's an extra 110 horsepower over the Power Stroke, and 1,000 pounds of torque over 660. And you definitely feel the difference pulling the trailer with the detuned truck versus this one. The difference is huge. I was blown away the first time I drove this truck. Man, it was impressive. But I think because this thing has a little less power than the Ram, it might last longer, because, you know, if you beat something like a piece of metal with a small hammer, it's going to take a lot longer to bend it or break it versus slamming at it with a huge hammer like this truck. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Is that one of the reasons why these are detuned, because they're going to be used for work day in, day out, versus these trucks might not be used day in, day out for work? So let me know if you guys know if that's the main reason, or if that's one of the reasons why they detune these guys. All right, the transmission on this truck is 6-speed, and the Ram also has a 6-speed, but this thing has an ISN or ASN, whichever way you pronounce it. So let me know, ISN is option 1, ASN is option 2. So let me know which one it is in the comments, number 1 or number 2. The Fords, man, they shift so much smoother than the ISN. This thing feels like an old, lazy, you know, it's transmission that just sits there and just kind of like, you know, shifts. When it's loaded with the trailer, you could feel the difference between second and third gear, at least on this one, on this generation of the truck. You could feel it. This truck, butter smooth 99% of the time, and I never had any issues with the transmission. And so far, this transmission is also doing good. Yeah, well, what I've heard people say, because this thing shifts a lot harder, it should last even longer than that one, because it's better for the clutches or something. I'm not sure, but it's doable though. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the lights. So the Ford has the regular halogen lights, which work fine, but they're not great. And you could definitely tell if you jump in the Ram, because this one has the LED option lights. And the reason why I went with them is not because of the luxury of it, but the safety. Because when you're driving at night in the mountains, believe me, you really want to see. And I'm actually thinking about throwing some LED lights on, either on the top or somewhere in the grill. I don't know, we'll see. But the only thing why I wouldn't throw it up top is because those lights up there, which are pretty nice. Those are LED also. Those are the regular ones. Going from that, we are going to talk about the interior. And the biggest thing I like about the interior of the Ford is it does not have a carpet. So it has a carpet delete, which if you track all the mud in there, you know, especially with what I do, you could just take a hose, spray it out, wipe it down, boom, done. And the Ram, it has nice floor mats, but it still has the carpet, which obviously carpets absorbs more smells than the rubber like in the Ford. But this thing has nice mats in here, so that's a big deal. I really like how they go up like that. It's not just like a flat mat. It goes all the way up, which is pretty nice. And I mean, it's not too bad. So also let's go and talk about, while we're on the interior, about the tech. So this truck comes with the safety tow package. I think that's what it's called. So it comes with 5 cameras. It has cameras underneath both mirrors. It has cameras up top. Then it has another camera right there. And then it has another one. I think it's total 1, 2, 3, 4. And then number 5. So, and that really helps out, especially when you're in tight parking lots, tight areas in the mountains. Start hopping out, put in the truck and park, which is not hard, but it's just nice that these trucks come with such an option. You hit that button, you see where you're going, you see how close you are, where you could stop, if you need to pull forward a little bit. And I think this one also has an option where you could plug another camera, put another camera on the trailer and run it to the back of the truck, and you could see it on the screen over here. That way, especially with a 35-foot trailer, sometimes you don't really see the end of the trailer, or if you're backing out into a street, put like one of those cameras that has a fisheye vision on it, and boom, you can see, and it's a lot safer. Because some people, I mean, if any of you guys do driving, you guys know how unfortunately people don't really stop or pull over. Some of them do, and I appreciate you guys that do that, but you got to be really mindful of the bigger trucks, because they don't really see as well as you guys, the ones that don't really drive on the big ones. All right, well, the next thing I want to talk about is the maintenance. The Ford is going to have the win on it, because if you do a time challenge, you know, you versus your buddy, maybe, you know, one guy has a Cummins, the other guy has a Power Stroke. The places where they're located, the fuel filters, the oil filters, is just a lot easier on the Ford. And I guess it's not that big of a deal. It's not really hard, but it just takes a little bit longer on the Ram, because the Ram oil filter is right there, and the Ford one is right there. So it's way easier. You can just go right underneath, take it off, put it back in. But this one is not as protected like the Ram. I actually just thought about that a couple of days ago. When was that? Yesterday, when I was doing the oil change on the Ram. This one, you can't hit it with anything. That Ford, you could hit it with a rock, hit it with a branch if you're off-road, but that's something to consider what you're going to be doing. Something to watch out for, because there was instances when I'm driving the Ford off-road and I was worried that I'm going to hit it with a rock or something, but thank God nothing happened. But overall, happy with both trucks. And like I said, there's compromises in everything. This one has a smaller leaf pack than the Ford, but the ride quality is a lot nicer on the Ram versus the Ford. So you got to see what you're doing. If you're driving the truck, you know, from the yard to the job, and you're not driving it all day long, I'd say the 450 probably would be the better choice if that's the only thing you use it for. Both of these trucks are nice. I mean, I prefer obviously the Ram because I sit in it every single day, and also depends on the specs and on the weight. If you're gonna have a lot of weight on your bed, 450 probably, or 550, or 45 or 5500. So yeah, well, this is gonna wrap it up, guys. Look forward to more four-wheeler content. Got the exhaust in and got the tune back, and it is super excited because I've been waiting for it for a while. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, what you guys, maybe I missed something. And like always, guys, have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the